And a happy hump day to you, sports fan. I'm Adam Deal. I am the host of the Proview Network Rundown in the beautiful Proview Network studios. I'm here, of course, with the crew in the zoo, Jay Pohl, Josh Beartrap Brown, Alden Balso Hard University. Maybe we'll do some hype or no hype. I think we've got to, based on the lack of material that we have today. And why do we have a lack of material, gentlemen? Well, because in the APS metro area and also Rio Rancho High Schools, school was canceled yesterday. And by rule, if school is canceled, so are after-school activities such as sporting events. And so we did not have the monster games that we were supposed to have last night. We should be going over Volcano Vista and Rio Rancho highlights and also Hope Christian and Valley highlights. And so with reschedules, here's what it looks like. Tonight, we will have a rescheduled game, and that will be Rio Rancho taking on Volcano Vista. Now, we have shifted that to the television game because of the importance of it. Now, we do know that Manzano and Albuquerque High School is important. We'll talk about that in a minute, but your TV game tonight, it'll be Rio Rancho, Volcano Vista. This is for outright first place in the district. Who would have known Rio Rancho would be here? I'll tell you, Rio Rancho, they've got a chance if they beat Volcano tonight, a real chance of winning the district and getting a 2 seed in the state. And I think 3 seed is their furthest drop off. So Wally Salada's got his work cut out for him, and then Volcano Vista can seal things up and get a 2 and potentially a 1 seed with a win tonight. So much on the line. We will be at Volcano Vista, but we will also be streaming live Manzano as they take on Albuquerque High School. This will be at the Palace as Manzano with a win have control in the inside track of winning the district, but they still have to play Capital. So a couple of tough games for Manzano now. On the other end, Albuquerque High School with the win. They will host Sandia on the My 50 game of the week on Friday. And if they can win both games, they outright win the district and get their automatic berth. Think about that, into the state playoffs, which would shut out a couple of teams. I just can't even believe we're talking about that. So that is a big game, obviously. We've got it streamed for you. And so we've got everything in front of you. That is your schedule going forward to tonight. I'm going to bring in Alden in just a moment. Jay Pohl, I'm going to talk to you real quick, though. Did you enjoy a good snow day? Look, APS and Rio Rancho schools are closed. That means Proview Networks is closed, right?
Yeah, I enjoy it. It was a nice day. I did some laundry. I had some food, sausage and eggs to wake up. I didn't shower.
Josh is mad. Beartrap Brown is mad. Maybe we'll chat with him a little bit later. But he came in and the show that does not get canceled is the Boss's show, right? Steve Davis' show must go on, and he had a great guest. So, JB, you were here in good spirits, weren't you?
I was terrified. I almost spun out 3 times driving in.
Yeah, it was bad in the morning.
It was, especially out in Rio Rancho where I live, man. It was that driving over on Unser, it was just nasty, and then got into really Albuquerque, and it was like speckles of snow.
Yeah, and then by noon, it's all gone.
It's all gone,
right? Everything is gone.
After the show, yeah, when I was given the word that we were off, I took off, and it was already melted.
Okay,
but
well,
it was a good day.
I'm glad you could be here. It's for the cause, fighting for the cause, JB.
The show goes on.
Okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. We're going to do hype or not hype here in this first segment. And we're going to do it with, of course, Balso Hard University. We're going to go over bracketology. So hype or not hype, Alden Iowani.
Alden Iowani, Balso Hard University.
What's up, everybody? How's it going?
Well, why don't you tell everybody where you're at today?
Oh, I'm at a very nice stadium here in San Diego called Petco Park, where the Padres play. My good and great friend Manny Machado, who just got signed to $300 million over 10 years. He's a very close friend. He graduated from the Balso Hard University, so he just got signed here by the Padres. So I came down and, I just wanted to check out good old San Diego.
This is what Manny Machado did. I'm pretty sure, now that we're on this topic here.
Got paid.
This is what he did. He said, I don't care if I ever win a game. I don't care. I'm moving to one of the best cities in the United States. I mean, he's going to have the best beach house, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And for 10 years, he's going to collect $300 million plus whatever endorsements that he grabs on top of that. And
I think it's
I
a
don't
great
even
deal.
blame the guy. Like you want to win, and you want the athletes you look up to win. But if you've watched Manny Machado, I don't think he cares about winning. Dude just collected $300 million, which is going in his pocket no matter what if he gets hurt or not. And he's living in one of the best cities in America. How could you dog the guy, right?
Yeah, you can't blame somebody for wanting to do that. And you know what? I've been to San Diego on a good amount of a couple of occasions, and it is such. I mean, it's like heaven on earth. 70 degrees year round. Best fish tacos in the world.
Dude,
like,
it's the best. I'll tell you what. I feel like this should be a destination. San Diego should be a destination for more athletes. Like, why would you not want to live? To me, it's like Miami. Like, you want to live in Miami? I'd rather even live in San Diego. So I don't blame Manny Machado. I think Manny Machado is overrated, but that doesn't matter. He's collecting $300 million.
Right.
He doesn't care what I think because he's got $300 million
and
in
Bryce
his pocket.
Bryce Harper's licking his chops because I mean most people would probably say that Bryce Harper is a better baseball player than Machado, and he
Right.
got $300 million, and he's looking for the same kind of deal. But he's
going
to get a little bit more. Yeah.
350 now is what they're saying. Does he go to Philadelphia? But let me ask you a question. Manny Machado wins because you can pay $25 million more in 10 years, but then Bryce Harper, he's got to go live in Philadelphia. You want to live in Philadelphia or you want to live in San Diego? Tell me.
I'd definitely rather live in San Diego, but I definitely love me some Philly cheesesteaks for sure.
Okay. Well, you can probably get a decent Philly cheesesteak somewhere in San Diego anyway. All right, let's shift gears back to what we know, and that's high school hoops, and that's what we love to cover. And latest, weather delay yesterday, right? So, I'm sitting in my house, and what am I going to do? I'm going to do a little bit of bracketology. So here's a 5A boys bracketology. And people are going to look at this and be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So Trisco Heritage beats Cleveland, and they go back. Yes, and the problem is, and I got to take this into account, is I'm projecting a little bit forward. I still think Cleveland ties Trisco for third in the district, and then their credentials will have them seated above Trisco. But then Hobbs and El Dorado right now beat Trisco in all of the, on all the criteria. So, we're going to have to take a look at what this means going forward. But Trisco would be a 7 seed, and I don't know as if Coach Ortega is going to agree with that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean it's difficult. It's difficult, especially with the Trisco. They're such an up and down team. I feel like even though they're one of these top tier teams, and I feel like they're definitely better than a 7 seed. But who knows? Who knows with all these great teams this year? I mean, four of the best teams in the state coming out of one district. I mean, that's crazy within itself. But the one that caught my eye on your bracketology was that Cleveland-Santa Fe matchup and Eldo, who I'm not sure. I saw Eldo and
So El Dorado would play Manzano
So
potentially.
if they won, we can get that in the first or second round of the state tournament. We can get the critical game, the
problem with Eldo, man, right now is I think anybody would want to see them. If they're a higher seed, they would want to see El Dorado just because of Cameron Valencia, right? Now, Manzano, I have them in based off of them winning the district. Now, tonight, Albuquerque High School beats Manzano at Manzano, and that completely flips the script, and Albuquerque's playing a home game to basically shock the state. I'll tell you right now, I was looking at it last night. If Albuquerque wins both of these games, they're not getting higher than a 14 seed. Like they're not. And so that means 2 spots are open. And that means it just depends. If Manzano finishes above Santa Fe, it's going to be Manzano. And if Santa Fe doesn't finish above Capital, it'll be Capital. I mean, it's just anybody who's next in that district will get those last 2 spots. And so somebody's getting left out that shouldn't be left out. And it's just going to be wild.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I'm kind of hoping for the Albuquerque High thing to work out, just because that's the whole point of you got to take advantage of these this time of year in district. I mean, and they have definitely taken advantage of that. They may have not have had the best record all season, but if they can sneak in, kind of just like my Cibola Cougars did in football, I'd be really excited about that to see. I mean, state is all about seeing the best players play, and Jude Tapia is definitely one of the best players in the state.
Playing hype or not hype now. So now that El Dorado has No Cameron Valencia. We just don't know for how long. We haven't heard what the news is, but are you still hype on these El Dorado Eagles or not hype?
I'm going to say not hype just because it's just going to be too hard for Quintana. I mean, for by himself. I mean, not saying that he can't do it, because I totally believe that he has that killer instinct in him. He's got that like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan kind of like, just give me the ball and get out of the way and I'll make something happen.
That's true.
And you know, that always, I mean, that always gives you a shot, but I think they're going to have to lean on him a little bit too much, unless some of their role players step up, like Carter and what's his name from New Jersey? I always forget. But
Yeah, Darajiak Bolsis. So he's been playing good, at least on the glass. He's going to have to really step up. I just feel like they're in trouble. I feel like El Dorado's in trouble.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm curious, and they'll probably play La Cueva again as long as they don't slip up this weekend. They'll probably play La Cueva for a district championship tie-breaking game, which would allow them to get a district championship trophy as well. The NMAA could take La Cueva or El Dorado above one another. Now, El Dorado jumped up to third in the coaches pool, but only 10 of the 16 or 10 of the coaches had voted this week, so the coaches pool's all messed up.
Yeah.
I don't believe people are going to be voting for El Dorado if they know Cameron Valencia is not around. I think El Dorado still, though, is going to get probably a top 6 seed, no matter what happens here to end their season. If I'm an opposing team, I'm like Oñate and I'm flirting between an 11 and a 12, I want El Dorado in the first round. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, yeah, I believe you're completely right. I mean, they both lean off each other so much for their success. I mean, Cameron Valencia, I mean, wasn't he averaging like a triple double? Like
Really close,
for
really
like
close
for
to
like
it.
a while
Yeah.
there. I mean, so that's the thing, that Quintana's more of like the scorer and Valencia's more of the do the little things and I can score too. So I feel like that's just a major blow for El Dorado, but if anybody can figure it out, it's definitely Roy Sanchez. Roy Sanchez can definitely figure it out.
Couple of teams that are flirting with this tournament right now, and it just depends, is Sandia. Sandia can help themselves with 2 wins this week, and they can play themselves probably in, depending on how everything finishes off. Also, Carlsbad would be the last team in right now because of their big win against Clovis, and Clovis trying to hold on to a home game. If they can beat Roswell at home, they might have to host Roswell again in the first round, but very big game for the Wildcats that's coming up, and obviously Albuquerque High School, Capital, Santa Fe, Monzano, they're all kind of fighting for a chance to win district, and so that is up in the air as well. And then the game against Rio Rancho and Volcano tonight. Hype or not hype on this being the most important game of the season so far?
I'm gonna say hype, but I'm gonna also say that just because of what I said on Monday, I think is that no matter who wins this district, they're probably gonna get the 2 or 3 seed, and unless Las Cruces can royally screw it up. But I think whoever wins this game is it'll be good for bragging rights and all that. But I think these 2 teams, the 3-2 out of District 1, they're going to have to end up playing each other at state if everything pans out and everything goes out the way that everybody wants it to. They're going to be playing each other again in the semis. So I'm more hype on that, but I'm interested to see. It's always interesting to see when a team can eventually play another one in the playoffs, how the tone's going to be set for that next game, and that's what I'm going to be looking into.
I cannot believe we are here. By the way, we will have a bracket breakdown, and it'll be on Sunday, and it won't be this Sunday, it'll be next Sunday, roughly around 7 p.m. We're still waiting on the NMAA as they release the brackets and when that will be, and we want your watch party, so you could join us. Of course, Ball So Hard University, you'll be here, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm also traveling up to Vegas for Highlands this weekend. Last regular season games for them, which should be awesome. Which is very important because they've been dropping a couple games lately. So hopefully they can figure it out this weekend and win on Friday and Saturday.
They've lost 3 of their last 4, 3 of their last 5, and so Highlands really have to get a big weekend. You'll be there, and you could watch that here on Proview Sports Network on Comcast 26. On the men's and women's side, we'll have both Friday night and Saturday night their games. All right, coming up next, we'll have President Steve Davis. We'll chat a little bit about the state tournament that's coming up and where everyone's at in these big games. Appreciate all of them. We'll chat with him a little bit more.
Getting some. Does anybody want fish tacos for lunch?
Please.
On me, I'm gonna grab some.
Oh, you promise?
Yeah,
Okay.
I got everybody in the studio. We'll see you guys.
Albany wanting, also Harvard University.
I'm going 5 points opening half. A long three for Sutphin off the window.
His debut with the B-52s. Shot on and scored.
But here comes Ramos, and he uses his three yet. Chavez on the layup, yes, counted and one. Get here. Shoot on the drive. He dribbles through and he gets the roll. Yeah, I mean, they get into the front court. Crawford, Marcus on the drive. Sutphin's gonna lay it all the way in down Main Street. And a timeout for Sean Jimenez. If he was more aggressive, and a hammer for Jalen Munn. Look at this backdoor cut.
I'm Troy Lefane, head coach of the USL New Mexico franchise, and you're watching Proview Sports.
That is Steve Davis, president, owner of Proview Networks, comes on here, the rundown, usually every Wednesday, chat some high school hoops. I know it's your favorite season, Steve. It's my favorite season. It's really New Mexico's favorite season, and we're in the thick of things more than that, as we'll have a bracket breakdown on a Sunday from this Sunday around 7 o'clock, and it's kind of all coming into fruition, and we're seeing kind of all the teams scrambling to put themselves in position to win a blue trophy.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of basketball played to be played this week to change your bracketology a little bit, and a lot of question marks on what will happen. So, but very interesting. It's the weather kind of changed the format for Proview Networks, but
right.
I'm going to stick with the schedule and go with Albuquerque High and Manzano. I mean, I know that it's maybe not as big as your Cleveland and. I mean, your Rio Rancho and Volcano Vista. So I just,
all games are big. All games are big. But if you're looking at it objectively, 2 versus 3 in the state for a district championship is the biggest game. mean,
I
that's
just want, Albuquerque High to win just to mess up your bracketology.
And it'll make it really easy, to be honest, because if Albuquerque High School wins, I mean, everyone in that district has to be seated after Albuquerque High School, and Albuquerque High School ain't getting a high seed, and so it kind of makes things really easy for me to predict. Now, I'll want to visit that, though, because is that a problem for the NMAA if this were to happen? I mean, for teams like Santa Fe and Capital, even Manzano, potentially don't get into the tournament because of this rule? Is that maybe something that they
I'm going to
look
throw
at?
another scenario out there, okay? Just say that Albuquerque High goes on a 2-game winning streak, okay? And then let's just say that San Diego goes on a 3-game winning streak the following week.
Yeah. No, I mean,
that's and it's like you said, there's going to be some people not happy.
yeah. I mean, sorry, I got something in my eye there. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna stop people from making the tournament, and it's gonna be really awkward. And there's teams like Carlsbad that are hanging on by a thread that are saying, listen, we don't want that to happen. If Albuquerque High School were to win the district, or
No,
what
it
you
affects
said,
the whole state.
yeah.
I mean, but I'm just saying that's a perfect scenario that could happen.
You look at Albuquerque High School and see they started 0-7. Going through the resume, and it's still not particularly good. They just have picked up their play in a district that is very mediocre right now. We know J.B. White from Santa Fe is down, and they had additional players down, and Coach Cole's still done a good job, but Santa Fe is just not the same team. The team that's really shocked me that is underperforming or maybe just not performing like they were at the beginning of the season was Capital. And Capital still has a chance to kind of rectify things. Now, look, Capital can beat Santa Fe and then go and beat Manzano on Friday, and they could win the district. Albuquerque High School could win the next 2 games. They win the district. Manzano could win the next 2 games and win the district. Santa Fe could win the next 2 games and win the district. And so there's so many teams that can win the district. San Diego.
So you don't think there's a lot of people? You just answered my question
Yeah.
about how big a game this is with Manzano and Albuquerque High.
Well, okay, so that's okay. We're on the argument. You want to make the argument? It's just like, okay, if ESPN were to play maybe 2 top 25 teams like Maryland versus Iowa, or they could play Duke versus Virginia.
Thanks for putting Proview Networks with ESPN.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So
that's what we're trying to mimic. So if you got Maryland versus Iowa, or you could watch Duke versus Virginia, which game are you going to televise?
Well, if I'm a Duke fan, I want to televise the Duke. So,
Okay. All right. Well,
we're not nationwide, okay? So we're state, okay? You're going, if we were nationwide, I might agree with you. We're just, we're a metro area.
it's still a bigger game. They're all big games.
No, they're all huge games. No, I just had to make that point, and we just move forward. I mean, we got to go. We got bigger games.
All right,
we're gonna get Albuquerque High on Friday night. There you go. So,
Jason Pohl, do me a favor while we got Steve here. Put the 5A boys bracketology on real quick one more time. This is something I wanted to point out, kind of how things are, the landscape of things. And Steve, your Clovis Wildcats would be hanging on by a thread right now, right, as the 8th seed. But they clearly are above La Cueva, and I know all kinds of people are saying, no, La Cueva's going to
I was going to bring that La Cueva up and explain that. Let's just assume that both teams win out this week, okay, which is a good assumption, okay, and then they both tie.
Yeah. So check this out. Projected, and it's pretty set in concrete now. Projected though, Clovis has 7 district championship wins against other district champs, which is by far more than anybody else in the state. Okay, they'll win that category. Clovis,
plus they have a good record.
Right, Clovis will have a better record than La Cueva. Clovis had beat La Cueva head-to-head, and their max preps is ahead of them, and it won't change. And so there is no possible way that La Cueva would be ahead of Clovis. It's not going to happen. And so even if Clovis were the 9 seed, they're going to be ahead of La Cueva. And so La Cueva fans that keep wanting a top 8 seed, don't blame me. Blame your struggles in the early season and your 13-9 record. You know what I mean? Like that's the problem.
Okay, what happens if Roswell beats Clovis?
It still doesn't matter because Roswell is comfortably ahead of La Cueva as well. They got more district champion wins. They'll be higher in max preps and they'll have a better record. They had not played. 3 criteria points. Bang. done. So it's, I mean, you just take the formula of the NMAA, and La Cueva's not getting a home game unless things like magically completely shift in Max Preps, which I guess I have seen happen before, but it doesn't look like it's good for La Cueva to get a home game is what I'm saying here.
Well, they can still win their district, and even if they win their district and then win the district championship,
Won't matter.
It doesn't matter. If they go on
It
a 4
doesn't
game,
look like it matters.
If they go on a 4-game winning streak, that doesn't. They're
Well,
losing.
they're only so La Cueva's got a game against West Mesa this weekend, okay, and then they'll play El Dorado most likely for that district championship tiebreaker, and then they'll probably play them again. So that's 3 additional games. La Cueva can win those 3 games in a row, and their record's not going to be better than Roswell's. They're not going to pass them in Max Preps rankings, and so it's going to be very difficult for them to get that home game. That's just is what it is, especially if Clovis do beat Roswell this weekend. I don't foresee it happening, Steve, and that's just El Dorado's going to beat them in the criteria no matter what. And that's where it is. And then you look at
Trisco Heritage. Let's talk about Trisco Heritage for a
so
second.
you look at, and go ahead and look at this. And this is me doing a little projection, okay? Now Cleveland loses to a Trisco Heritage for the 2nd time this year. By the way, Cleveland have now lost 4 games in district play by a combined 8 points. I want you to think about that.
And also 25 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, all with, it's ridiculous. And an overtime loss. Okay, here's the deal, though. I am just projecting that Cleveland beats Rio Rancho when they play on Thursday. Okay, if they do so, and I'm also projecting that Volcano Vista beats Atrisco. If they do so,
your Volcano wins the district.
Well, I mean, Rio Rancho and Volcano could still potentially tie, but that's okay. So the Atrisco and Cleveland will tie record-wise in the district. Atrisco will end up getting a higher seed in the district tournament, but the NMAA, it doesn't matter. To them, they can take either one above the other one if they tie in district standings. Okay, so if Cleveland go and beat Atrisco in the district tournament, then Cleveland's going to be ahead of them in the criteria by a mile. And that's based on record and wins against district champs and even head-to-head. Okay, they tie in head-to-head. And so I still think that Cleveland could become a 4 seed. Now, if all of this doesn't happen, what I just said, then Atrisco would be ahead of Cleveland, and Cleveland still would only get probably at worst a 6 seed. So I mean, it's not terrible for the Storm or for Atrisco. But in this scenario, it hurts Atrisco because they lose to Hobbs, and they also right now currently lose to El Dorado in the criteria if this all were to come out like I just said. So it just depends on how these next games go, Steve. Atrisco could find themselves, I think, in between a 4 seed to a 7 seed, but no worse.
Well, let's get out and support. I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, these are great games. I still think Albuquerque High and Manzano is the game of the night, but they're all big games, like you said.
All right. Do we got any time for any more of the bracketology, Jason? We got 1 minute. Let's quickly take a look at them, just quickly, and you know where the landscape of things are. Start with whatever you throw up. I mean, and obviously with 4A, Steve, Los Lunas, they're going to get the 1 seed. Hope Christian, they're going to get the 2 seed. Gallup's going to. These are like locked in.
They're
my
locked
opinion.
in, right?
3 seed, it's going to be Gallup. The 4 seed, I believe it's going to be Silver, and then Espanola Valley. Now that can flip, but I still think it's going to be Silver because their record of Max Preps is ahead. And then Goddard probably gets the last home game if they can beat Artesia this week, which is a big game. Artesia could tie things up and maybe flip things potentially, but it's a very big game there, Goddard. And then Highland's still fighting for a top 8 seed, so that would be nice to see as well.
Be awesome to see that, especially with him, what he's done for
Yeah, Justin Woody's done a great job. And then quickly, 5A girls. Max Preps do have a swing, and West Mesa's back at number 1, which makes no sense to me. They lose to Piedra Vista, but I think it's going to be Hobbs, PV, and then West Mesa kind of in that order, unless West Mesa were to lose another game. Volcano Vista has a chance to crack that top 5. We'll see. A team I think to look out for is Volcano in the tournament, but as we get there, girls, there shouldn't be too much shift here.
Well, I think he got it pretty much covered except for what happens in the next 3 days.
Yeah, well, as I said, it's going to shift tomorrow. Well, in fact, on Friday, we'll have something new for you. I can promise that. That's Steve Davis, owner and president of Proview Networks. I'd like to thank the crew in the zoo. Alden Iwana will be flying back from San Diego. Oh, he's already here. Thanks, Alden.
Where's the meals?
Yeah, look for those fish tacos, man.
Promises.
All right, hey, we'll catch you later. Enjoy those games tonight.